Welcome back to the Pokemon Legends Arceus Countdown. So today on the countdown, I actually want to start off by apologizing for the lack of countdowns as of late. It's been about a week since I've posted the last one. If you go on to the most recent episode of the countdown, down in the comments below, I answered a recent comment that kind of explains why I've not really been around. It's an excuse that I've used for a long time now, and unfortunately we are back to work, and there was a lot of stuff that happened over the past few weeks that put me into a not of a great position, and I'm not going to go on to that right now because that's obviously, personal. I don't need to talk about it on YouTube, but nonetheless, it was a rough time for me, and I needed a break from having to worry about the countdown, so I took a little bit of some time off. But we'll be back for the countdown pretty much from now on. So starting next Monday, you'll actually see an episode every weekday, because we are officially 2 weeks away from the game, which is awesome. So starting next Monday, you'll see a countdown every day of the week, and then of course Brilliant Diamond will still continue Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'll probably try to make those episodes a little longer, just so I can try to get the game done before Brilliant Diamond, or no, before Legend Arceus, my bad. So keep an eye out for all of that videos. So anyway, on the countdown today, actually, I want to talk about the map. I want to make a little bit of a special episode for you guys. There is a map. We've had it pretty much since the OG trailer, and it is interesting. It is an interesting map. I see many places on here that we obviously will recognize from just Sinnoh in general, from Mount Coronet to Snow Point to the lakes and so on and so forth. But I want to take some time and I want to go over all of the areas that we can see necessarily on the map. So what I've done is I have just simply put it into 4 different coordinates. So we have 4 different corners of the map that we're all going to go over. So to start it off, we're going to go over with basically where you're going to start the game. Alright, so we're in the bottom left corner. And the idea is that you're starting in Jubilife, which they call Jubilife Village, I want to say, instead of Jubilife City or anything like that. But if we look at this, it's just actually quite interesting because the layout is actually quite drastically different from the way it was. Now, what I'm thinking is what ended up happening. Is that there has to have been a major geologic shift in this. In order for this to eventually become Sinnoh, I do think there had to have been a major geologic shift, because there are quite a few places that actually kind of don't make sense. The idea of having Jubilife over there in the corner doesn't really make sense with the map of Sinnoh necessarily. And I don't need to go into this fully by any means, but if you were to kind of turn the map, it kind of looks like Sinnoh, kind of, to an extent. But if you turn that way, then you gotta expect that where Jubilife is on this map is where Canalive is instead. So it's a little interesting the way that they've done this, in a sense of geologic time, because I'm a geologist. That's what I study. In the sense of geologic time, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever for the Hisui to have become Sinnoh in only a few hundred, maybe 1,000 years. Geologic time is more along the lines of hundreds of thousands to millions of years of actual time moving continents and parts of things forming in different areas. But again, we can go over that for all day, but nonetheless, it's just something I wanted to point out, that this is a very different map from Sinnoh, and the geologic time sense doesn't make a lot of sense. So possibly that could maybe even go somewhere in the story, actually. I'm wondering if maybe it has to do something with Gigas, or the actual story of like Arceus in general. So I'm interested to see how that's actually going to go about. But anyway, let us actually talk about the actual map in general. So we have Jubilive. It is the only city on this map. I at one point did think there was a couple other ones, but there's not. There's a couple areas we will point out that I think I thought personally were cities at first, but now that we have more information, we know what they are. So we have Jubilive, and of course, you know, we're gonna be there with Team Galaxy, and we're gonna meet all of the characters and stuff like that, and we're gonna be able to explore that and get our starter, and then I'll make our way out, which we don't know necessarily how that's gonna work. If this game is like open world and you can just go everywhere you want, then I guess you could go straight up to the next corner up, or you could go to the next corner across. So it's interesting how that would be. But if we move on beyond Jubilive, because there's not much to say about Jubilive, it's just a small village that pretty much occupies the most of the human interactions in this region. Really, there's nothing much to mention about that. So if we go over to the side here, we got a little bit of like a grassy knoll area with some rivers, and of course some Pokemon. So not much to say about that either. It's probably some sort of like swampland maybe. But no, actually, you know what? There is a part of the region that does remind me of swamps. So this is probably just some sort of plains area, Route 1, Route 201 area kind of a thing. And then if we go down a little bit, we can actually see what is Lake Valor. No, not Lake Valor. It's no, it's not Lake Valor. It's Acuity. Yeah. You can see Lake Acuity down there as well, which has the island where Mesprit would be, which is really, really interesting, in the least. That's actually still there. So I wonder if that obviously is going to play into the story, which there actually is a really interesting thing here, because if you look over at the other side of the map, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, there actually is Lake Valor over there, or whatever, the Yuxi Lake, but there's no Azoth Lake up at the top. So it's interesting how that plays, unless we just can't see it in general. It's possible there. But it's interesting how those three, because those three have really been omitted from like all information. I mean, granted, so has every legendary Pokemon in this region has been omitted from anything. We've only ever seen Arceus, and we don't know how that's even going to play out in game. So, nonetheless, it's interesting to see how the lake trios are even going to play in this general. So if we go over a little bit downwards towards the actual corner of the map, there is a little bit more land down there. Is this going to be playable land? We don't know. It's a simple put. You know, there is some fields down there, so maybe that makes it seem like you could possibly swim around into this cove area and get onto what seems like some sort of like either beach or desert land, which would be interesting to see if that would actually end up being the case. But in my opinion, it probably won't be playable, because I don't think they're going to go that far, nonetheless, into, like, okay, we'll go all the way out here to play this in general, because there's no Pokemon over there in that area. I think it's just probably aesthetic. But then again, there are the places in the map where you wouldn't expect to be able to go, but you can go. So it's interesting nonetheless. And there's a bunch of clouds that are covering certain parts of the map, and I wonder if that happens to do something with something that like is hidden in that area that we don't know about yet. Possibly even do legendary things. I have no idea. So that is that. We want to finish up this corner. It kind of goes into the bottom right corner as well. Is this large tree that we've seen in several trailers. We've seen the player character be acting very surprised by something that's shining in the background. We don't know exactly what that's going to end up being, whether it's going to be a noble Pokemon that we're going to have to fight, or if it's a legendary, or if it's just something straight up to do with the story. But if there is something with this tree that we don't know about yet, There are some starlies inside of it, so I wonder if it's going to end up being it's this whole area that you can go into. I don't know if it's going to necessarily be like a tree that you can like climb into or onto, but nonetheless, it's a very important area to the region, it seems like. So I'm guessing there's going to be some sort of no Pokemon. Maybe this is where you're going to get Cleaver at, sort of a thing. So if we move back into the next area of the map, so as we go down, there is a river that comes off of Mount Coronet, which is, I'm assuming, still Mount Coronet. We've got a river that's going off of it into like more of like desert land-ish, which is interesting that we can have more desert, which I'm glad, because, you know, we need more desert in this region. You can see a Ponyta there, which tells us there's not going to be any form for Ponyta. There could be a Rapidash form, who knows, but I doubt they would do that after having another one. So if we have that area, there's a couple of humans, which look like they could possibly be part of the Diamond Clan. That's another thing about this map, is that there's several people around the map that are dressed in different forms of clothing, but you can clearly now see that they are Diamond Clan and Pearl Clan. So we've got some Diamond Clan in that area in general, doing some like water, food source sort of thing, cultivation. So, but not much to really say about this corner of the map in general. There's a mountain and several other little mountains around there, and then of course we have a huge spot that's covered by clouds. If that has to do anything with this, who knows? I know they've done things like that before, so there might be something down there that's important to the region. Who knows, that they just don't want us to know about yet. That is a fully up to us to figure out if that's going to play into anything, because I can't tell you what would be down there. I mean, if it's something new, then there really is no expectation in the least for what it is. I mean, if you were to think about this from regular Sinnoh standpoints, we would be somewhere around probably Pastoria, close to there. Maybe, I mean, Velsinnoh will be up a little higher, but probably like Pastoria. So maybe we could have, no, because it can't be the Great Marsh, because if we go up a little bit, there is that marshland that I'm assuming is the Great Marsh in general, or the route afterwards, after Pastoria. So, interesting concept there, but there isn't really much else to say about that whole coordinate of the map, because it's just mostly covered and has a lot of desolate mountain, swampland landscapes. So, if we go up to the upper right corner, this corner is full of things interesting to the map in general. So we've got a couple of Pokemon that are just roaming around, like Ponyta. I can't tell what Pokemon that is in the water. It could just be a Finneon, for all I know. There are some Finneons in one of the other corner maps, but at least I can't really tell what it is in general. And I doubt they would reveal a new Pokemon on this map in general, because that just doesn't make any sense. So possibly it could be something to do with that. Who knows? But again, we have a little bit of that marshland left, and then we reach the actual lake where Uxie is, which is super interesting. Again, those are there, but you cannot see the other one. So it has to play something with the story, I'm thinking. There really isn't actually almost too much to say about that little corner of land. But as we go up into the more Cove Bay area, we see more Diamond Clan people who are what seems to be like the predominant clan for this region, because there really is only one area where you can really see Pearl Clan people. So maybe the Diamond Clan has more power than the Pearl Clan, possibly, which is interesting to think about. But we've got a large cove area with some Psyduck and some Shellos in there that will probably be very well explorable. Which leads to a really interesting question here. Because as we go above the cove, we can see a volcano in the background. And we actually now know that area is somewhere we can go. What I'm assuming it ends up being is that is the battle area. And somehow that leads into something like that. It's an interesting thing, but we're thinking battle area up there. But we can now get to that area because we've seen you be able to fly over a volcano, what seems to be an active volcano, and that does seem like to be what an active volcano is. Whether that is going to be anything important, who knows? My guess is that there probably is going to be at least 1 or 2 new forms or new Pokemon over in that area that we'll be able to explore, but I don't think it's going to be anything to do with the story, in my opinion. There doesn't really seem to make any sense along that line. So probably some new Pokemon, maybe something post-gamey possibly over there, because it could possibly not be accessible until post-game. Which is interesting how that would work. So we do know we can go out there, which I'm excited to see. If we go a little bit over to the next area, we see a Gyarados in the background, which who knows if that's even going to be anything important. It's just a Gyarados out there. He is quite large compared to everything else, but that could just be perspective things. None the least, we have a Gyarados out there, which could, who knows, maybe we could do a Red Gyarados quest out there, maybe, who knows. And then if we finish up the land, we see some more Diamond Clan out by that Delta area, which is not much really. That would probably be roughly where like Velstone would be if we like turned it to where it needs to be, roughly something like that, none the least. But that's really it for that part of the map. It is full. It is full of things and very interesting places that I think we can go, like the lake, the cove, and the volcano, of course. Which who knows how much is going to tie into the story. And then, of course, we move into our last area, and this area is mostly predominantly snow. In fact, I think it is pretty much just all snow. There is some water areas in general, but we have a lot of snow, and this is probably where we're going to find Hisui and Zorua and Zoroark, which makes sense, in the least. It really does make sense. This is the only area where we see Pearl Clan, and they have some sort of encampment up there by what seems to be the Snow Point Temple, where you can get Regigigas in game. So that is already built. Whether that was built by these people, or whether that was built by a really ancient group of people in this region, we don't know. We don't know if that's going to be anything to play there, but we do see that temple up there specifically. It is another man-made structure. In fact, it is the only other man-made structure besides Jubilife. So I'm guessing that it's made by ancient people, like really ancient people. People were here thousands upon thousands of years ago. They built this effigy to Regigigas. Whether Regigigas is going to be playable or have something in the story, well, I don't know. I hope it does, because I think it would make a lot of sense with this whole tectonic issue that we seem to be having in this region, where it's very different from actual Sinnoh. But I'm really excited to see if it has to do anything. I really want it to do something with it. But other than that, really, it's just a snow area. That is it. Not saying that's bad by any means. It is a huge snow area that I'm sure will have some more Pokemon that we don't know about yet, that will be revealed eventually. We also have a cloud cover a little bit towards the top of the map, which maybe could do something, but nonetheless, any of these cloud covers could be covering something important for all we know, because they are placed in kind of random places. So it's possible that they may have to do something. And then, of course, to finish off the area, we have some Finneons swimming in the ocean, of course, and another character that seems to be on some sort of a canoe out there. So who knows? A lot of this is very, very interesting. The idea that Pearl Clan is out there maybe tells me that there's possibly a Pokemon that they are protecting out there specifically. I don't know what. I hope there's something really, really cool. I know that they protect Cleaver, which tells me that Cleaver is probably going to be towards down by that tree. But why are they up there? So I'm wondering if there's another Pokemon that they also protect in general. So the last thing to really mention is Mount Coronet, which there really isn't too much to say. Obviously, it's Mount Coronet. There are several tunnels on the map that we can see. So it does look like we will be able to go inside of it, obviously. And of course, Spear Pillar is blocked out by clouds, which makes sense in the least. We don't want to see what the actual secret of this whole thing is. Like, that is probably where everything is going to go down. You know, I mean, like it does in regular Sinnoh, everything is going to go down there. Whether it's going to be doing something with Palkia Dialga, or Giratina, or Regigigas, or Heatran, or any of the Pokemon, really. We don't know, but I'm excited to see what the rest of this whole map has in store. You know, and this is a very different style from what they normally do. And so who knows how it's actually going to be able to like be in general. But I'm really excited to be able to get my hands on this game and run throughout this entire land and just have some dang fun exploring and finding all the new wonderful hidden secrets that they have in this region. So anyway, I would like to thank you guys for watching today's countdown. I usually don't do outros for these videos, but I wanted to do a little bit of an outro. And again, apologize for the lack of these countdowns. I will be back on Monday with more Brilliant Diamond and of course another countdown, and that will be every weekday except for Brilliant Diamond. It will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because I don't have the time to record 5 of those and edit those because they take quite a while. So anyway, I would like to apologize for that. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, a wonderful 3-day weekend. If you're over here in the States, you get our Martin Luther King Day. I hope you guys have a wonderful time, yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next countdown. Bye.